Today I'm talking about one reason why you as a guy might feel like an imposter. Or if you are a woman watching this, why the guys in your life might feel like imposters to you. Hey, I'm Eric. Welcome back to my channel, Men Forged by Doctrine. Thank you for being here. Last week we talked about a fundamental principle of causality and some examples of what it looks like when guys are truly being about the causes or the right things regardless of the results. Today we're talking about the flip side of that same coin. We're talking about the effects. What is the greatest desire that a majority of guys want? I won't say every guy wants it, but what most guys want. At its core, the deepest desire that a guy has is to never get tired of having intercourse with the same woman. I will say that again. At its core, the deepest desire for a guy is to never get tired of having intercourse with the same woman. That's it. We are fairly simple creatures, really. Sex is probably the number one thing that most guys think about most of the time. Where feeling like an imposter comes into play has to do with the strategy that a guy will try to use to go about getting this greatest of great desires, sex. It turns out, at a fundamental level, there are really only 4 strategies that a guy can use to go about getting this effect. These 4 strategies come down to what I will refer to as the 4 thought processes. These are referenced in 1 John chapter 13. Let's check it out. Starting in verse 10, it says, He, Jesus, was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came to his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. In verse 13, we see 4 different thought processes: blood, will of the flesh, will of man, and God, or godly. Blood represents destruction, or a destructive thought process. The will of the flesh represents the animal thought process. Will of man represents the human thought process, and God represents the godly thought process. These 4 thought processes are where we see 4 different strategies to get sex come from. So let's go through these one at a time. Blood, or the destructive thought process plan for sex, comes in the form as and we can see how this is destructive to the woman and to the man. Lots of information has been coming out within the last 5 or so years that shows how rewires people's brains, and it's not in a healthy way. Number 2, the will of the flesh, or the animal thought process, comes in the form of one-night stands. What we see happen here is that a male may act like a man or do some of the right things, but he will only do just enough of these things in order to sleep with the woman. As soon as he gets that effect, he will stop doing the causes and try to get sex with as little effort as possible. If he doesn't get the effect, he may even go down a level and get destructive or violent. Hence the destructive thought process. The will of man, or the human thought process, would be the trophy wife strategy. He will put in effort and work hard in order to be with the prettiest girl in the room. This is the human thought process because it sounds logical in the short term. You know, it's the thought of like, if I get with the prettiest girl, then I will never get tired of being with her and having sex with her. If we take a step back though and think about this, we will soon realize that even the most beautiful woman in the world is a woman that someone got tired of having sex with eventually. Lastly is the godly thought process. This thought process is the opposite of the prior thought processes. The strategy here is that the man will help grow the woman to become a more and more excellent version of who she was made to be. As she grows, the man will feel like he is with a new woman every month, and he won't be able to get used to it because she continues to become more and more amazing, more and more profitable version of herself. Picture a farmer who helps a barren field become a fruitful vineyard that produces delicious grapes. These delicious grapes then become a unique blend and a delicious wine, which he then does get to enjoy as an effect of all of his hard work. And it would be right and fair for him to enjoy it because he did the work. How many guys today do we see trying to shortcut this godly thought process? How often do we hear about the challenge that women face in trying to find someone who is truly being a man? What's even more of a concern to me is how often do we hear about helping guys learn how to grow a woman? How many of today's problems wouldn't even exist if all the guys were being men to help women grow, rather than being boys who try to take from the women around them for their own benefit? Guys, what's ahead of you this week? How can you be focused on being about the causes or the right things, regardless of the results, regardless of the effects? It's easy to chase effects. It is harder to do what is right, regardless of the result that happens. That's the difference between being a boy and being a man. And that's the path that we're on, becoming men forged by doctrine. If you want to join on this journey in being a man forged by doctrine, hit subscribe. If this video was of value to you, please give it a like, and I will see you in the next one.